Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. You're joined by my colleague here, Kyle, and we're just going to be bringing in the wonderful Kes Akalaonu. I almost got that right.
Damn. We needed some handsomeness in this. Like, look at Kes, you're looking good. Mighty fine, my friend.
Thank you.
You are. So there's all of us in here. Today's show is kind of post-Max and also talking about what the new tools are that are being released, those which have been released and are actually available now, different workflows interoperational between different apps such as Photoshop, Premiere, Firefly, all the different goodies that are coming, and also that are here now, rather. And then also we'll be looking at what's coming in the betas and what we know is going to probably land next year. And we've got the wonderful Kes Akalaonu here to help us with that. He knows more about this stuff than all of us. And we've got the brilliant Kyle. So I'm going to stop now. Kyle, how are you? Tell us a little bit. Please do.
It's good to be back from Max. It's good to be back from Max. Andrew and I, both of us talk a lot. Kes hasn't even snuck in a word. And it's so funny because, some people sometimes say to me, Kyle, does your train of thought have a caboose? So we'll be better. Back from Max. It was so much fun to be hanging with so many, all the creative people and engineers. My favorite thing was being at the booth. People would come up, ask how to do something, and then I would be able to help them with production workflow or, the essential sound, library that was coming up, that's there now rather. And, sound effects, music library that's accessible but for free. The coolest thing, too, was I met this guy who's the head of the Parks Board of all North America or U.S. parks. And he was like, how do I get people to share video with me and cut stuff? And fortunately, we had the Premiere Mobile rep, product manager there. And she suggested to bring in, to give them the Premiere Mobile app so that they could shoot stuff and then share with Premiere Mobile to his project.
And on that, I'm gonna just move this on quickly to Kes because we're kind of doing the show already at the beginning. I gave too much away, as has Carl. We're like this, but Kes, just tell us how you are. A real quick. How was Max for you? And then we'll go into a little bit more detail in a moment because we still haven't thanked our sponsors. Kes, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on. Max was incredible. Great to hang out with Kyle IRL. Great to see all of our mutual friends and everything, not just the Odyssey folks, but just the overall video community. And Max this year was pretty special. It's like, it's my first year as an employee. The last previous years, I had been an insider like Kyle and like yourself. And, it's always a joy just to be there, just to see everyone, just to nerd out, to be able to showcase your skill set and be able to share that with the video collective at large.
And this was your first year Andrew. This was your first year as an employee of Adobe. So, dude, congrats on that post. You're well deserved. All the work you did on the Discord channel, and I mean, wow, yeah.
Thank you.
And before we go too much further, we've got to put a mention in for our wonderful sponsors, that is to say Lucid Link and Digital Anarchy, both of whom, look at that,
nice.
You see?
Wow.
And we'll be talking more about them, but essentially we've got Lucid Link who provided us, and we've been working with them on remote workflows and remote storage, which is just a brilliant solution. And Digital Anarchy, who provide some of the best tools for things like Flickr-free, Beauty Box, all of those tools that you just sometimes don't realize you need at Samurai Sharp. And so listen, we'll be talking more about those because we did some demos last week and we're going to probably revisit those. But that's our wonderful sponsors, Lucid Link and Digital Anarchy. So let's talk about Adobe Max. Let's do a quick recap. So, Kyle, tell us, what were the height?
Kes would probably know more about how many new things were announced.
Yeah.
But the big thing is that the workflow for editors has changed dramatically with the new tools. There's things like in Sneaks. If you haven't seen Sneaks, you definitely should see the Adobe Sneaks videos. It's really cool. So we're going to preview a few of them later, but there's also all sorts of things like turning a 2D model into and adding lighting that's in 3-dimensional space. That was awesome.
Yeah.
There's the mobile to desktop, deal. That's awesome. There was also some crazy stuff where the guy took pictures of a tractor with a tree, and he did a 3D space thing, and then he was able to move a tree and change the tree using AI tools to move it around.
We've got a video for that, haven't we? And we'll
show it in a bit. But Kes, what was your take? What were your highlights there?
So like what you're talking about, that Gaussian splat technology that was being showcased, that was pretty awesome. Project CleanTake was probably one of the concepts that blew me away. The whole ability to just, it was like podcast, but it was like the whole next level podcast where it could just change inflection, words, and things like that, and tone of a speaker. But then Project Frame Forward, which was the whole concept of, all right, I send a problematic frame from Premiere into Photoshop, use Photoshop's, machine learning to remove things or add things and stuff like that, and then it'll interpolate that from one frame.
Oops, sorry.
I theorized that was possible with an image sequence, but it's like I didn't think the consistency. I didn't think we'd see it within the next 5 years, but it's essentially 5 years came a lot sooner than we thought, because AI is always just moving at paces that we can't even keep up with.
So I put together a little playlist for members. It's on our channel, right? The Adobe Premiere Pro Editors channel, YouTube, the one you're watching now. And you can go look at our playlists. What's really cool here is the Adobe Creative Highlights. So I'm just going to open this up here. And this is, you were talking about Project CleanTake. Why don't we just play a little bit of that here? Now, I haven't queued it up, guys, so I'm gonna apologize now. We're just gonna jump in live and check it out, okay?
Go to the transcript panel. And I can
just can you boost the level and go full screen on that?
And select
stand by.
Place.
So okay, this guy here.
The rest. This is crazy.
We can do it. So this next clip was an interview with my coworker Matt. He was speaking outside of the Adobe Seattle office in front of the Fremont Bridge, and let me just play a few seconds.
We're in the Fremont neighborhood of Seattle, where the Adobe office is located. And the cool thing about this office is where it's located.
So you can obviously you can obviously hear that bell. That's because this bridge is a drawbridge that was actually opening while he was talking about it, which was great that it happened to open when he was talking about it. But obviously that sound is way too loud and jarring. So what we can do using our new and updated source separation technology is to take the audio from the video and break it up into its individual components directly in the timeline.
No way.
That's nuts.
No way.
Like that just, okay, so yeah, no way. Like, have you ever, wow. That blew me away. So that's one of them, right? And there was also the project you mentioned Frame Forward. You want to go to Frame Forward?
Yeah, let's take a look at Frame Forward.
Okay.
Imagine if video editing was simple as editing an image.
So Frame Forward is basically, Kes, why don't you explain it while I search around and I'll grab the right spot. I'm going to go to the cat part because we showed the kayakers last time. Let's go to the cat part. And if you could explain what we're going to look at.
Yeah, so the concept of Project Frame Forward is taking a frame from Premiere, sending that to Photoshop using Photoshop's object removal technology, and then interpolating that from that frame to the last frame of your video, so that way it's like a clean object removal. So it's leveraging Photoshop's technology on video. And at the end of the day, video is nothing more than a collection of frames. So if we could leverage that with Photoshop's technology, then it makes doing object removals a lot cleaner, a lot smoother, and the workflow really just expands.
We've always wanted Photoshop brushes and tools. It's like, why can't they just put the brush in there? You know?
So just to explain exactly what this means for those that really don't know, because we've kind of talked almost like we're talking to each other here. So for those that don't know, you may have a piece of footage where you've got something in the beginning of the footage, you've got something in frame you want to remove, right?
Yes.
And what you can do is you just take the first frame from that clip, you put it into Photoshop, you remove the thing you don't want in there anymore. You then export that back. Sorry, you then export it back to Premiere, or do you take it up to Firefly?
Well, let's take a look here. This is the thing, right? This is it.
Select this card here and then remove. All this is just image. Okay, this is calling the Photoshop backend API to remove the car and the smoke.
Turn it up a little more.
Still using trace erase. So now you see the car and the smoke is removed, and then we can start propagating. So this example is obviously very difficult because the car and the cameras are both moving very fast, and you see the smoke is actually occupying a large portion of the frame, and it's actually transparent. So we try all the video trackers right now. None of this will work, okay, including the one in After Effects right now. And we asked the professional video editor to do this example, and it took them 4 hours just to draw the mask around the smoke because the tracker failed. And let's see how our model does. With one single click of the button, the car and the smoke is now removed.
Because it's object detection, removal, and like it's
the
just
hardest example I can think of.
Right, and I know for the pixel peepers, they're probably being like, all right, the next thing I got to remove is that drone shadow that was in the shot. But
yeah, exactly. Now, this is the coolest one too. For me, I love this one. Okay, so basically, it's not just removal; it's adding with a prompt.
Did the first frame just like before, and this time I'm gonna draw a mask. Okay, just something like this, and then here I can type in, things. And this time I'm gonna use a different image tool. I'm gonna use GenFill or Generative Fill in Photoshop to add a puddle to the scene. Okay, so now we have our puddle.
Reflection.
Wow.
That's astonishing.
Man.
right?
All right, so we have our puddle. Hold on, this is just an image. And you can notice that there is actually reflections of the cat on the puddle. So let's try our model on this one. So this is more difficult because now our model needs to actually understand physics, like how puddle works, how reflections work. Wait for it.
Right?
And you see?
Oh my God.
It's amazing.
That's so amazing. I love that. I can't even believe that.
Let's just pause there. So one of the things here that we're hoping to show you post Adobe 2025 Max is there are a lot of announcements for stuff. And all of this stuff, a lot of people have been talking about AI and will it take our jobs and all that kind of stuff. Let's just put that to one side because we don't believe that's the case. What's really important here is this is the kind of thing that editors, all of us, have been asking for and hoping for because we spend hours rotoing and inserting things and doing 3D stuff and, it's just 3D tracking. It's just such a pain. This is suddenly adding a whole bunch of features that allow us to really tame our footage and to do the job we're best at, which is edit and make creative decisions that give the best visual output. What's your take on this, Kes? I mean,
yeah, so from what I saw and everything from the Max sneaks and just Max in general, it's like, I think the thing is, a lot of this stuff is incredible. It's one of those things that it's a lot of the stuff I saw in the sneaks is in that vein of assistive AI, because I feel like we're still having whenever we have a conversation about AI, it's really all inclusive when we need to look at it as branches. It's like there's Gen AI, there's assistive AI, there's agentic AI. There's like a lot of levels to it. So I think with these tools like the frame forward, with the light touch and all that type of stuff, like if we could help us do our jobs better and stay in the creative flow, I'm not against that, but I also understand that there are some artists who still want that ability of doing the hard work, the tedium, because to them the tedium is still somewhat the beauty in the art form that we have.
And I suppose,
and if I may, sorry, Andrew, if
please
I may,
do.
one of the things that I found too is that this, fear of AI tools, right? There's different kinds of AI, and certainly it's impacting jobs without a doubt.
Yeah.
At the same time, for me, my imagination and creativity, these tools bring it closer to my ability to just do what I'm imagining. The logistics of creating a puddle and laying the reflection down, the tools that we've had in the past and that what we have now, we can create much, much faster. And there's not this big wall of tech in the way of our creative journey,
Right.
And I think one of the things we want to cover here is we can talk an awful lot, as you always do with these events, post the event and at the event, about what's coming. But what's really, for most people out there, they're going to say, well, that's all good and well. What's there now? What are the new things now that I can use right now? What's the latest stuff?
Oh, can I show one more thing of what's coming before we get into the now?
Sure. Do it.
One more of the sneaks thing. I know, Andrew, you're like, whoa, don't put us off the rails. I got to show. Sorry, Andrew.
Your enthusiasm is compelling. Do it. Just do it. Do it.
Okay, good, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna bounce into this the share screen here. 1 second. Okay, so this is the project New Depths. I'm going to jump around in the video, so bear with me.
Can you go full screen on this?
Here goes.
Can you go full screen?
Here we go.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to turn off the comments. Oh, no, not comments. Sorry. Turn off the closed captionings because it gets in the way. Okay, so this is Project New Depths. And basically, this is a photograph. And the guy actually went around and took a photogrammetry. He went around and took multiple pictures, like the Matrix, style of pictures where he brought the camera around in all 360. So here's what's neat about it. So, here it goes. Turn it up.
Let me add this. It might feel like a regular.
So he adds a tree.
But look what happens when
I
start
moves it
moving
around.
It. Wow. It actually understands the depth of the image. So if I bring the tree in front of the tractor, it still blends with the blends in front of it. Now I can move it back.
Shut this down now.
Okay, so I'm just gonna pop. I'm gonna pop around here. I'm gonna pop around here on some of the video because I want to show exactly what he did. So not only could he do from a two-dimensional thing, he can actually turn it into a three-dimensional model and spin around because he did the photos all the way around.
Yeah.
And he can change. There's the shot of where he's taking the photos, right? And then check this out. This is like crazy, man. So this is detecting in minute detail everything that's in the photo or in the image. It's not a photo anymore, right? What do you call them now? It's crazy. So he was changing the plants and moving plants and duplicating plants. So it's the object.
Does this work for video yet?
It's coming up. It's in 2026. Well, Kes, you know better than I.
The thing with sneaks is if it has enough popularity and enough want, then I think it's possible it could show up. But I think the thing with sneaks is to give us the potential of this coming. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have this, but it may be above my pay grade in this situation. So
we were in the audience there, and I don't know. I know I was saying, ship it. Yeah. Ship it. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to play this one little bit here because this is also with regards to grading. Here we have a still camera, does a 3D image, creates a 3D model, and
lasso tool because it also selected the tree. So I'm just going to refine it real quick, something like this. And now I can open the color grading tool to change the hue to, let's say, I think the blue works well on this one.
It's insane, man.
And
no way.
Here we go.
Yeah. And it was what I love about it is that it's organic too. It doesn't look cut out. It looks like it was always there. Yeah, Andrew.
So let's get back to what's available for Premiere now.
Yes.
now? What's available now in Premiere? We can cast forward, and that can also be, that's useful to know. Let's talk about what's here now. Kes, you were at the show and you've been keeping an eye on what's going on. Do you have could you let us, could you give us the inside on what 25.5/.6 is going to be? Because that's about to launch fairly soon, isn't it? 25.6, is that right?
Yeah, that's imminent. Within the next few weeks, it should be coming.
Okay, so what are the new features that our editors and content creators need to know?
Yeah, so I think one of the more significant ones is the redesigned Frame.io panel. We understand that with Frame.io v4, we did introduce a new panel last Max, and we were aware that sentiment may not have been as great as it should be. So our Frame team has been hard at work trying to redesign it, trying to streamline it, make it more accessible and useful for all users, like ourselves and teams and everything. So hopefully with the next Premiere release, the new Frame.io panel will be back to its former glory with a little more polish and shine. And then we're also trying to see if we could, I believe that we're going to have the pipeline for Premiere Mobile and Premiere Desktop to work together. So if I work on a Premiere Mobile project on my iPhone, then I could be able to send that to Premiere Desktop. And I hope that within 25.6 that we also possibly see the new redesigned vector masking tools, as well as the object mask. It depends if those two items will be ready for release in the next couple of weeks, but I know that.
So let's talk about that a minute, because for most editors and or content creators, those are tools that are going to be really useful. So we all know that sometimes you can get a shot where you just want to be able to do two things. One is you want to remove something, or you want to object mask something so you can track something, maybe do some change of color, isolate it from the scene behind, right?
Yes.
And so tell us a bit more about that, because there's rapid tracking, there's some new masking controls, and there's ways of isolating so you can actually separate out me, for instance, and then put titles behind me or in front of me or wherever. You can actually do that 3D placement. So tell us a little about that, because that's a tool lots of people are going to want to know about.
Yeah, and that was also the tool that we were actually, in a lot of classes I was TAing, we were actually using the Premiere Pro beta, which has the object masking tool as well as the redesigned vector masking tools that you use right now. And the point of that tool is, we understood that there were a lot of users, Premiere users, who may not want to, send a clip over to After Effects to use a RotoBrush. RotoBrush is a pretty amazing tool, but, there are some people who do like to keep their workflows or pipelines within Premiere. So with the object mask tool, that allows you to do, a quick selection of, objects in your frame. So like a lot like the Photoshop object selection tool, this one's made for video, and it's really fast. Like I've tried it on my Apple Silicon machines, I've tried it on my Intel machines, and it's pretty incredible. So it allows users to select an object, whether it be a person, whether it be, a piece of paper or a bicycle helmet and things like that, and track it over time. So that way it does give you the ability to isolate it. I could grade it, I could add effects to it, I could, put text behind it, I could do a whole litany of things that wasn't possible with the older masking tools in Premiere.
And I suppose whilst people are frightened of AI, they're even more frightened of After Effects. And so the idea of rotoscoping, a lot of editors are. Kyle, tell us about that, because you were doing some work on After Effects at Max. We know that a lot of Premiere, film cutters and editors don't really like, they're not that familiar with AE. So this suddenly brings some of those tools and saves a whole heap of time. So tell us about that.
Well, I'd like to tell you about AE and how much I did work with it, but I didn't do very much with it. I was there at the booth hanging out with the guys, and ended up actually going to the Premiere booth because that's what I know.
But tell us about the workflow. So the workflow that you have previously used, where you've had to clean up something and you've had to roto.
Well, I've never rotoed ever. I've hired people to do it because I don't. It's too painful and it drives me crazy. So object selection in Premiere is amazing. So is that the answer you're looking for? I'm so glad.
One of them. So yeah, I mean,
honestly,
Yeah, essentially in Premiere, you're going to get a suite of tools that are coming, and some of which they're in beta now. We hope they're going to be released 25.6. That'll allow you to do what amounts to rotor. If you want really sophisticated rotor, you're still going to have to go into AE, and there'll still be people doing that. But this allows you for an awful lot of stuff, especially content creators and anyone doing corporate, to save shots and to do some significantly cool things with text and placements of objects.
Well, I don't even know if you need to roto so much. I mean, what I love is, because this is all public, right? So we're not under NDA anymore, which is awesome. Anything to do with object selection or object identification is now public, right?
Yes.
So thank you. Basically, you can detect the sky, and then you'd be able to add a lumetri effect to the sky, essentially, right? Or detect a person or their face and add a lumetri to that, right?
Yes.
And is that 25.6?
So right now that's currently in the 26 beta. I can't verify for legal reasons if it will be in 25.6 or not, but it's one of those wait and see.
Right.
But we definitely know that excitement for the masking tools is at an all-time high. So it's it's better to strike the iron while it's hot and get it out there.
So
there are. Go on.
Editor,
sorry.
Thank you. What you can do as an editor is, rather than starting, if you're cutting in 25, the general release software is what you should be using.
Yes.
And then if you need to do something that is a tool in the beta,
yes,
take that shot, make a specific shot, launch that into the beta, do the work in beta, and then bounce it back. Ideally, that would be the best way to go. That's what I would do, just to make sure that you're not corrupting your project, number one. Two, you can go, usually, most of the times you can trade within the 25, but you can't go from 26 to 25 and back and forth. Right. So in this situation right now with beta, and you want to do some objects masking and grading, you could go do that work in 26 and then bounce it back with an intermediate.
So in the meantime, last week when you were at Max, you spent some time with Digital Anarchy, and they showed a workflow using BeautyBox, which was using the object selection tool and masking tool to apply BeautyBox in a new way. We all know this thing where if you're using something like BeautyBox to make people look pretty, which I don't need, obviously, but if you've got blonde hair, pale skin, when you try to grab the skin, it fails. It's difficult because they're so close in colour. So they did a demo. It's a 2-minute demo. Shall I quickly play this, do you think? I know we played it last week, but I think it's, given what we're talking about, I think it's a really good thing to play.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Here we go.
How we're using Premiere's new object masking with BeautyBox. So let's switch on back to the Premiere beta, because currently it's just a beta feature. And the way this works is you grab the object masking tool, and you get a bunch of controls up here. And we're going to grab the lasso, and then we're going to lasso. By default, it's going to grab her whole head, and that's not what we want. Because one of the problems with BeautyBox is if you have somebody with blonde hair, sometimes it'll smooth out the hair as well as the skin. And so we're going to use the object masking to create a garbage mat. You'll see that even though it's a pretty rough outline, Premiere is going to do a pretty nice job of finding just the face. And so then I'm going to click the track forward button, and it's going to analyze the video footage. It's going to track that face as she's turning her head even, which is pretty cool. And it's going to give me a really good garbage mat for BeautyBox. And we can play that back. And we see the red area is where the mask is, and it's done a really nice job of doing that. So now we can change this to an opacity mask, because I want that to just be just the face. And now that I've done that, if I turn off the background layer, which is a copy of the original layer, you can see I just have the face there. And so that's the layer that we have BeautyBox applied to. Now we'll select BeautyBox. And no matter how much we crank this up, This is going to blur her out a little bit too much, but it doesn't affect the hair. So if I turn this on and off, you can see the original, but you can see that it's only affecting just her face where that object mask is. Some of Adobe's new masking AI technology to help out Beauty Box and make it even better than it already is.
That's awesome. Good job, man.
Thank you.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Editors are going to find their own way of using these tools, but just the fact that you can do that and apply an effect in that way and create your own mask and track it so quickly, that's something which we've all wanted. I've had problems with masking before and just using Beauty Box to help. Clients want to look gorgeous sometimes. Yes. So, Kyle, this is something you're going to be using.
100%. The faces for sure. I've always wanted to select them. Resolve has some great power masking, tools, and I believe that Premiere is now coming on par with those tools, if not possibly exceeding them in some ways. Depends on, every 6 months, the software will leap forward ahead of each other. It's great to have this competition between tools. I see Adobe Premiere really take, the engineers that are doing a great job of listening to editors and what the needs are. And that's clearly with the masking tools and tracking. What's cool too is that when you do the mask, how many times have you tried to do a mask and you're like, you got your perfect frame and you hit track and it tracks forward and you're like, oh man. So there's a little button there now that tracks forward and back for you. Yeah. That was like those little things make a difference.
So one other thing which I would like to talk a little about just before we move on to some of the other extraordinary tech that's coming, that's going to help us as editors, works in Premiere Pro. How much can we talk about color, Kes? I know some of it's still in development and we can't go there with that, but there have been some significant improvements, certainly in the workflows when you're ingesting footage and being able to play it back, where if you set it for tone mapping, it will automatically pick up what the footage is and set an appropriate color space for you to work in. And then you just set the destination color space you want to put out, Rec 709 or 2100 or whatever. Are there any changes or updates to that for 25.6 that we know about?
Not at the moment, but color is something that we're really looking, seriously at. So, Jason Druss and his team have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to do improvement on color. So we got a lot of people who are very color based. They understand the workflow, they understand the needs, they understand the way to improve it, because for the longest time, and you all can attest to seeing our users talk about color management in Premiere, it hasn't always been a smooth ride, but a lot has been done in the lumetri color space and the settings space to do color management. So hopefully, that was step one. With the next step that we're taking in the next year or so, hopefully we'll see a color workflow that is much more streamlined, much more user-friendly, and also just open to doing things in a much more accessible way than before.
And Kyle, I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you as well. Well, both of you actually. So the thing with events like Max is you have usually a split between the really zingy, this is what's coming soon, where everyone goes, wow, can't wait. And then you have a bunch of people that usually turn up and bitch. They go, this is broken, why haven't you fixed this, blah, 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 blah. I'd love to get a sense, because I've got a feeling that there's an awful lot that has been fixed that people don't necessarily understand. 25.5 is already doing things with media search, that kind of stuff. Give us a sense of that. How were people receiving where Premiere is at now and where all the associated tools are?
Kes? Basically, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. So I know work's been done by Fergus and his team to improve overall performance, timeline improvements. Adolfo's been just, a wizard by adding, audio transitions as well as selection, live waveform feedback. I know we talked about this maybe 4 or 5 shows ago with, 25.3 and 25.4, but a lot of stuff under the hood has been changed. Just like we are definitely taking a look at quality of life, and that's actually one of my initiatives that I'm talking to with some of the other Adobe employees, because we do, one of the things that I monitor on a daily basis is, all right, we do have users who want certain things. Like they were excited that we got Film Impact, the entire suite for free, added to Premiere. And that was, to me, that was a really great move. And object masking.
Oh, that was such a good move, wasn't it?
Right. And object masking, is really just going to open the floodgates for the creative possibilities, because for the longest time, we had to listen to people be like, why can't, if CapCut can do this, if Resolve can do this, if Final Cut Pro can do this, we maybe, quote unquote, last at the table, but it doesn't mean that we weren't trying, or we didn't care. We were listening. We just wanted to make sure that before we took
you've been taking, that's one of the things in the meetings that is when we've been in meetings with the engineers and they're just checking with the users.
Yes.
One of the most passionate things that they want to make sure they get it right. They don't want to put out something that is works halfway, and it's a challenge, right? People don't. I think that a lot of the demand, there's a huge demand for people to have it work right out of the box, and when it doesn't work, they go, "How come it doesn't work?" And the way that Adobe sort of is more patient with a lot of releases, sometimes it's a little slower to the market, but it's also being innovative at the same time.
And I guess my question was actually, do you think people from being at the show, have editors and people that have gone to the show noticed these changes? Have they noticed that Adobe Premiere has got a lot better?
Yeah, I'd like to believe so, especially in classes where I was TAing. There was good sentiment. I think it's just about for next gen C pros or just people who are starting out. I think the one stumbling block is just being able to use it from right out the gate, because I know sometimes it could be a daunting app to use because it is used for professional workflows, but then it's like the concept of professional, as you guys have witnessed, has been changing. It's not just people working in TV. It's not people just working in news. It's not people working in film. Now we have people on social media platforms making video daily, and their workflows are just as fast, just as complicated, and they need to be able to do it faster, better, all the adjectives above. So it's one of the things is making an app that works for all niches while also making sure it doesn't fall apart when it does encounter those different niches.
And we've seen that on the group, Carl, haven't we? We've seen there's been far fewer complaints. In fact, there's been a lot of praise for what's been going. Do you want to just give us some feedback on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, the members in the group, APP have overwhelmingly been dropping positive notes rather than saying complaints. Of course, it's the culture of the group. We ask people to bring the facts, rather than just the heartbreak. Heartbreak's important. We're listening, but we really just want to hit the facts, because when members share data, the engineers love that. That's like Google food for them, right? It's OS, Premiere Build, codec there. What kind of workflow is going on, and if it's broken, they want to know.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times when we're on the forum and we'll say, hey, please add your specs, there's a good reason for it, and it's because that way the Adobe engineering team want to be on the forum to get that data set from intelligent editors.
Pardon me. And I think what's really funny looking at the group, what's really sort of quite staggering is if you go back 2 years, we were seeing posts by people 2 years ago, we were seeing posts by people saying, color's broken. I can't use this. Codecs just don't work. H.264 isn't working. Why doesn't this bit happen? Why doesn't that? Lots and lots of complaints. Now people are talking about, I have got this very specific set up with some remote thingies where I'm not quite getting relinking on. Rather than going, the colors broke, they're saying, you know, we're doing a show next week, by the way, about ingest. Yeah. I think is it next week, Kyle?
Not sure. No, it could be. We have Esteban coming on the show soon. And, Esteban, if you don't know, is an incredible global journey guy that's taking photos, the most incredible, powerful photos of humanity. And he's, Adobe rep, his eye for a photo and his grading tools. It's brilliant. So we're
this is Esteban Toro, right?
If he comes on next week, then we're like, we'll take him whenever we can get you, Esteban. We love you, and we're looking forward to it.
Let's just say then that we're going to be covering the whole ingest workflow, because we still see people saying, look, what's the best way to do this? You know, how do I stop things? Why does everything still look weird on all the different screens and all of that stuff? So we're going to be doing a show that covers best practice for ingest, and actually it's reasonably simple, but it makes a huge difference to your workflow.
Yeah. So, and the big thing with ingest is that when you ingest, getting the transcript set up properly so that it identifies 2 different people or 3 different people if you're in multiple sound, making sure that's set up properly in advance. Also, the media intelligence. Now that we haven't even really talked about media intelligence, and it's one of the biggest thing. Like, being able to have tags on your footage without having to enter the word, it blows me away. Now, if you're working in production workflow, it's not going to search a production. It has to be a project that's open. And so with that, you basically type in the word dog. Not only will it find every dog that's in your footage of that project, but it'll also find sound effects.
Yes.
And one of the things that was really cool was this. There was a search for ocean or like waves, beach waves, and it also found the sound of a jet, because the sound of the jet is similar to the sound of the ocean, which might end up. I don't know if Andrew, you've spent a lot of time designing sound effects.
As a sound designer, sometimes you'll use things which don't seem related, but they actually just beef it up a little, right? But the important thing about media intelligence is I did a project last year with the betas of this, and I probably, on an 8-week project, I saved at least 2 weeks, because I had 800 clips that I had to search through from a variety of different sources, and I had to find find me a canoe, find me someone wearing red shoes, or just red shoes, and it would find that it saved me 2 weeks at least out of an 8. So it saved me 25% of the time. Those tools are really, really cool, really, really cool.
Now, just for those people that aren't from the UK, beta, as Andrew says, is I'll just translate. That's beta for the rest of the world. Yes, So if you're across the pond, it's beta.
Aluminium.
Anyway.
Aluminium. So listen, we've talked about this. I'd love to also just get from Kes and from yourself. Yeah. There's been the release recently of mobile version of Prem. And it's going to be coming to, there's already work going on for it to be for Android. It's currently just on iPhone. But that whole workflow is taking off and accelerated and going mad. And any Premiere editor has to have this as well. Certainly content creators. It is, and it's included as part of the package. Kes, do you want to tell us a little bit about what's going on with mobile at the moment?
Yeah, so as it was announced at Max, we did partner up with YouTube and YouTube Shorts, and we're going to be opening up a pipeline where Premiere users, the ones who are on iOS, like I know Android is still in beta testing at the moment. Hopefully we'll have some news about that in the next 6 months. But in regards to the mobile that is available, we are introducing the pipeline of being able to send it from Premiere Mobile to desktop with the upcoming release. It can currently be done in beta, but then also, we partner up with YouTube, and we're also working on, making templates, being able to just offer an editing solution that's, easy for content creators on their phones to create video, create content, and be able to upload it to YouTube Shorts without any hassle and a lot of ease. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how that comes out overall.
You're looking forward to seeing it? Well, guess what? I am going to do something that's very dangerous. I'm going to show this workflow working.
Okay.
And see what happens.
Everyone cross your fingers.
When we take Premiere Mobile into Premiere Desktop. And now what I did is I did preload it, because when we did it with Adolfo, it took after the show was over. Finally, the Premiere product showed up in Desktop. So I've already sort of sent it, but I haven't opened up the Premiere project on Desktop to see what's missing. So let's give it a shot here. So I'm going to go to screen share now, and now I'm going to have to add you back in, Kes, on the screen share for mobile. Stand by. And here we add Kes there. Okay, Yay. So here's my mobile, right? This is my mobile, right? So I managed to set it up. I've got it in this little in my phone here. Okay, ready? Here goes. So what I did is in Premiere Mobile. Here it is. Okay, I've got a couple of jobs that are in here. One sort of video from Playland that we did, which is sort of a family picture. Where we were on that was kind of cool, right? And then this is when I went to the Nine Inch Nails concert. So what I did is I wanted to do, now here's the cool thing. So you can actually resize really easily. So it's quite simple. It makes sense the way that it interacts, and I threw the graphics in, that's the Hertz part, that's the Vancouver part, and that's the Nin part. And then because it was shot 16:9 instead of 9:16, and I put a 9:16, I told it to do the borders at the top and bottom, right? So let's see what happens. I mean, we can send that one. The other one is I did this. I showed this in a recent one. This is a small file, and it's basically a bunch of stills, and it has animation on the stills. Now, I'm not going to send the family one. I've sent this one with stills, and I've sent.
Let's see it. Let's see
9 Inch Nails. Now, which one do you want to see? Now, I'll just point out to you. What's really cool about this is that you can send it. You can export it and make a video and then share it. Number one, but Premiere to Desktop. Check that out. Sure. This file with 9 Inch Nails is 660 meg. So what it's doing is it's giving the entire asset, not just the video clip that you have. It'll send all your assets for that file. Now, if I go
titles and sound effects, everything.
So if I go to this one, and by the way, this is this video. It was specifically for the recognition of Indigenous peoples here in Canada on the reconciliation. That's what this whole video is about. So it's basically a retrospect on the pain and anguish. So the other one had video, 660 meg. This one here, if I send it to Premiere Desktop, is only 26 meg because it's just stills, right?
So show us how it works.
Now, now I have to change my screen share from this to the other one. So maybe, Andrew, you can keep talking while I do that. I have to remove this. I'm going to go back to 3 people on screen. Okay, I'm going to remove that and set up the Premiere share. 1 second.
Right, whilst you're setting up the Premiere share, the other thing we know about mobile is there's a huge amount of functionality in there. So the ability to do the masking, to do templates, to do titles. I believe that the if it's not already, but I believe the film impact stuff is coming across as well. So transitions, etc. Right?
I believe so. I think that might be in the pipeline or the roadmap. So it's one of those wait and see type things.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Hold on. You know what? I just have to do this a little differently because I just realized that I want to be able to show the entire screen with my little mousy things. You'll see what I mean in a second. Sage. Okay, there we go. So I want to be able to do that. Zoom in, and I need to do, yeah, there we go. Okay, so here we are in Premiere Beta, not Premiere Regular yet. Kes, will the mobile transition to 25.6? Is it going to
come? Fingers crossed. Hopefully it does. It's possible. So yeah. Okay.
If it works, you'll ship it. Okay, so basically you go into here and you go File, Import, right? And if I do that, and import Premiere Mobile project. Now, I have no idea. Now, here, Kes, this is like, why doesn't it have the name? Maybe I should have named the project before I brought it in. It's like, I don't know which one's which. We're going to try it. I don't know. We'll try it. Okay, so I haven't done this. I haven't tested it. If it breaks, it breaks. Who knows? Here goes. Importing it. Hands-free. Downloading. Ding, 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 ding. Opening project. Oh my God. It's like, I don't know. It works. If it works, great. If it doesn't, oh, look at that.
Wow.
So let's see what this does here. Do you want to enable auto transcription of all clips? Yeah, of course I do. Always. Damn. What's automatically transcribe? Yes, 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 yes. And speakers. Okay, so this is the most important thing. Auto transcribe clips. Yes, separate speakers. Keep those on. I don't need to do language detection because not this time. So this is what's happening here. Let's see if the moves happen. If it kept the moves in the picture.
So I'm assuming you've got narration for this, right?
No, none. So I just So this is none of the animation, the actual keyframe motion keyframes translated.
Okay.
It has the dissolves. So that's something that's interesting.
And then
right?
I think the opacity thing that you did, you translate. So.
And now this was supposed to be a nice fade out. It doesn't do it because it just clops out.
But this is don't forget, this is beta still. So we've seen that as it gets closer to release candidate, that functionality will improve as we've been seeing with all the latest releases.
Let's try the other one. See what happens. Okay, so we're going to try this one. Okay. I did the August 15th one, right? This is the November 5th. Yeah, probably, because that makes sense. November 5th. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Oh, this is a video that I did. Okay, this one I did in Premiere Mobile Beta. And I just did it a while ago. All it is cloud with some sound effects here. And what I'll do is, hang on, tab, okay. So basically, this audio here was all free music and free sound effects
from Adobe stock
from the Premiere Mobile app. I was like, what the hell? So I think you won't be able to hear the sound because otherwise, but it was just a nice shot from the plane coming back from LA to Vancouver. Yeah, it was just a beautiful little moment. I posted on Facebook. So I guess the Nine Inch Nails one isn't there. Damn. Oh.
So the point being, because we are getting short on time here, the point being that it does actually translate. It does actually send across the project you've edited in mobile. You've shot and edited in mobile, and it takes it straight into your desktop where you can continue to work. Now, we know there's some missing functionality at the moment. We know also that that's they're looking at that, and that's why it's still in beta, right? So this, for the first time, gives us properly good editing capability. And in fact, I've heard from some people they prefer editing on their mobile devices and tablets. Like the whole interface has become so clean and so clever. I've got to ask you, Kes, has anyone given any thought to being able to use a tablet or phone to edit for your desktop?
I believe that this works on iPad OS as well. I think it's just like it hasn't been fully optimized, so there might be some minor hiccups and glitches if you do use it on your iPad or tablet. So I definitely see that as the natural progression in the roadmap, because if we could get it on mobile, then it only makes sense to get it to smart tablets, and then now you got like a mini laptop that has no keyboard, that has like a virtual keyboard that you just travel with you and edit stuff on the go.
So listen, we're 4 minutes left to go today, but the last thing we wanted to cover, the last thing we want to cover in here is this is all about the community we're in, right? So we're really interested in what you think about the latest releases. We're really interested in what you think about we're really interested in what you think about the features, user first features, and we want your feedback. Is there something that you think is missing? Is there something you would particularly appreciate? The engineers at Adobe sit on the group all the time, and they're really interested to see what your concerns are, what your thoughts are, what your wish lists are. So send us a wish list. Have you got, I mean, you were talking about this earlier, Kyle, or earlier this week, about how it's important we get this information. What would you like our members to send? And also to Kes as well. But first of all, Kyle.
It worked. It worked. It worked. Okay,
right, so back to Kes now, because he's talking. Kes is going to talk. Kes, tell us.
Just 2 seconds here. I just brought in the. If you'd see, I've got the Adobe. I tried the 9 Inch Nails video. This is what came in. So you saw what it was before. It had a top and a bottom with some text. It does work, but it's giving us an error here. The Premiere Pro model project August 15th is ready to download and open. But basically, you can see that it did do some of it, but it's not all of it.
Yeah, the pillar box didn't translate.
Yeah, the pillar box didn't work. Only one of the texts worked. The text is actually there, but because of it's not light behind it, it's basically black on black. Yeah. So, it kind of worked. It's cool. The fades are there. Yeah. That's cool. Okay, so back to you. It worked. Awesome.
Kes,
yes.
What would you like from the group? What would you like from our members? What, or for anyone that's listening or watching this, which is probably 3 after this, which is us. So, what information would you like to have back? What wish list? What's useful to you, to Adobe as engineers, to help make the products better, groovier?
Just knowing the type of hardware specs users have, as well as like the type of media. Like, we understand that like codecs and containers may not always be the most fun thing to learn about, but we also understand that they do impact performance as well as hardware specs. I think the thing is, looking at Premiere and the video editing workflow, you got to look at it like pieces of a puzzle, as opposed to one thing is the thing that breaks it all down. Like, it's not like a Jenga kit. It's more like a puzzle on a flat table. So, you take a few pieces out that may affect performance, and that's one of those things that we need to know. We need to know all the details. The more details we have, the more we can probably diagnose and probably come up with things to help improve overall performance and feature sets.
So, but what specifically, what kind of wish list do you want to hear from people about the features that do work and what they would like to see in the future? Some feedback on the stuff that's come, right?
Yeah, definitely want to get feedback on anything that's currently in beta right now. But also, I do see stuff like, I know people want animated captions. Hopefully, we can bring that pillar box effect from Premiere Mobile into Premiere. I know Warp Stabilizer could use some love. And also, I know this comes up in our Odyssey group a lot, but, multicam workflows. Like, I think with the level of AI integrations we've had, if we could borrow bits and pieces from the past, like from Pluralize, Syncala, and some of the other competitors, and just make a multicam workflow that is much more streamlined, much more nonsense, helps users get straight to work as quickly as possible, then that would be fantastic. And I know, just overall performance stability, just quality of life features that, maybe a feature that may not have gotten the love it needed sooner than later, that would be awesome too, because if it performs better, then it allows everyone to do better.
And what's the best way for them to do it? What's the best way for them to share their data? I mean, definitely in our forum, we invite people to ask and post, but it's, it's, what's the best way? There for sure.
Yeah.
And
I'd probably say either share it on the R Premiere subreddit or in the Premiere community forums, whether it be in the Premiere community forum or the Premiere beta. The more we know, the more ideas we get. We actually do track that stuff, and the more we see it, and the more people upvote a particular idea or feature, then it kind of makes us look at it and be like, all right, this is what the data is showing that we need to do to improve the product overall, because this many users have either viewed it or upvoted it. So let's put it under review and see if it's possible.
Cool. So look,
we're running out of time. I wanted to show stuff on Firefly, but we're now over time by it's 11:01. There was stuff with Firefly and interoperability, because Firefly, we didn't give it some love. So let's dedicate a show to Firefly interoperability with Premiere. We'll get the engineers on. I've already reached out to some Adobe reps that are on the Firefly team. Hopefully they'll say, yeah, come on. Well, it was great working with them on the floor at Max. I'm going to do a quick shout out to our sponsors again. Let's just do this. Bing, bing. So, Lucid Link, thank you. Love it. It was awesome. Seamless workflow with Andrew and I trading files back and forth while he was in the UK. I was shooting on the floor. And if you haven't seen last week's show, it's pretty cool because John's on an iPhone. I'm on an iPhone with a gimbal, and we're exploring Macs and interviewing and hanging out with the Lucid team. Our other sponsor, Digital Anarchy. Download a free plugin. Look at that. Huh. So that's the beauty box right there. And, basically Flickr free. Jim Tierney, incredible dude, Code Warrior. This is what amazing right there, right? Yeah. So, Andrew.
So, yeah, that's it. We're going to be, we'll be announcing exactly what next week's show will be about, probably this weekend. We're going to try and get in early and be a little better prepared. It felt a little, I'm sure, shambolic today, but that's because we're all a bit after Max. Last week's show, if you haven't seen it,
I don't know. I thought we did pretty good. We got the demos done with the iPhone, and Andrew, you were like awesome with the show flow, and you kept us on track.
Last week's show as well was astonishing. It was really good, and what a technical achievement. We couldn't have done that a year ago. So thank you to LucidLink, to Frame.io, to Digital Anarchy for helping with all of those things, and to Kes, who was part of getting that up and running. John, who isn't with us, John Knowles, for being there. And I think, gentlemen, that's a show. What do you think?
I think so too.
Yeah?
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
So say goodbye. Say goodbye.
Bye. Love you.
Bye.